So we'll call this meeting to order at 6:30, 4 p.m. Please ensure that your microphones are turned on. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Councilor Jiguer.
Thank you, your worship. I, Councilor Gilles Giguère, declare a direct conflict of interest with agenda item 10B, item number bylaw number 3626-23, letter of intent, Due North Housing, as I've done some research and work for Due North in the past.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, your worship. I, Councilor Gilles Giguère, declare a direct conflict of interest with agenda item number 10C, bylaw number 3627-23 for the agreement with EXP as the proposed anchor tenant. In Due North.
Okay, can I have your paperwork, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Councilor Brombat. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I declare the conflict of interest on item number 11A, title vehicle speed, for the reason I live on Anson Street.
Thank you. Councilor, anybody else?
Yep.
Councilor Bernier.
Thank you, your worship. I have two this evening. First is the Councilor Bernier would declare pecuniary interest for agenda item number 11A, vehicle speed on Victoria, as I reside in the area proposed. And the second, if I may, your worship, I, Councilor Bernier, declare conflict of interest for agenda item 11B, the no parking zone, as I also declare the direct vicinity.
I have a question for Integrity Commission. Is that the general good of the community? Because if we live on a stretch, because I'd be declaring the conflict also, and I wouldn't be able to vote on that.
Well, I think it may fall under one of those exceptions that we talked about earlier today, but I think I'd have to learn a little bit more about what's involved, but it's possible that you would be relieved of your obligations under Section 5 if it's a service or a utility provided to everybody. So I could have a look at that if it's going to be coming up.
We're voting on it today.
Yeah, I think without knowing all the details, I think you should
Declare.
stay with disclosing the interest and not participate.
Okay, so I'll do the same thing then. Because we all have to. Yeah, the same thing. I have Councilor Bernier is on the thing too. I just copy it. Yeah. I'll declare a conflict also. Bear with me, sorry. So I'll declare a conflict also for 11A, vehicle speed on Victoria Road. I reside on that street in question. 11B, no parking zone. I live in the proposed area also. Thank you. Is there anything else? Anybody else? Yes. Approval amendment of meeting agenda. Is there anything? Any mover and a seconder?
Yeah.
Councillor LaFave and Councillor Jiguer. A second?
Can I read the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, you may.
It was moved by Councillor LaFave and seconded by Councillor Giguere that the agenda for the May 29th, 2023 regular council meeting be approved as printed.
All in favor? Carried. Approval of minutes is nil. Business arising from minutes is nil. Public hearings is nil. Delegations and presentations. Go ahead, Mr. Harold.
Thank you, your worship. So I have two things to speak to this evening. The first is my annual report. And I haven't quite been here a year yet. I was appointed June the 27th, but it seemed to sort of coincide and make sense that I come a bit early. So I've broken my report down to talk about advice that I've given as well as complaints that I've received. So I'll start with the advice. Since my appointment, I have received 2 requests for advice. The first request related to the town's establishment of an executive committee of council. Following my review of the terms of reference in the bylaw, I advised that the committee was a proper, quote, committee under the Municipal Act, and that its terms of reference respected the governance model for such committees. I did caution that the executive committee should not stray into management functions involving human resources, personnel, and purchasing matters. The second request for advice came from a member of council who is concerned about possible conflicts between his business interests and his appointment by council to a local business organization. So I provided that advice to the councillor. During my time as your integrity commissioner, I have received 6 requests for inquiry or complaints. 2 of the requests concerned the publication by the town of a 2-page information piece in the October 6th, 2022 edition of the Enterprise. The requests allege that the publication constituted a breach of the town's code of conduct and its election bylaw provisions concerning the use of public resources for campaign-related purposes. I prepared a report to council dated April 5, 2023, dismissing the complaints. And the next item I have is, I'll just sort of go over the highlights of that report, dismissing the complaints. I received complaints against 2 members of council alleging that they had contravened the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. The issue was whether the 2 members had a pecuniary interest in the accounts payable disbursements report considered at the January 16, 2023 meeting of the Committee of the Whole. I dismissed the complaints for the following reason. So I set out the duty of members under Section 5 of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, which is that where a member, either on his or her own behalf, or while acting for, by, with, or through another, has any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in any matter, and is present at a meeting of the council or local board, at which the matter is the subject of consideration, the member shall disclose the interest, not partake in the discussion or vote, and not try and influence the vote. So what I said was, as you can see, before a member is obliged to disclose a pecuniary interest in a matter, the matter must be, quote, the subject of consideration, quote, of council. For a matter to be the subject of consideration as contemplated by the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act means that council must have before it a matter that requires not only their attention, but also a decision. In that regard, as I understand it, the quote accounts payable quote report is presented to council for information purposes only. These expenditures form part of the town's budget, bracket, the point where any pecuniary interests are to be disclosed, bracket, and the accounts have already been paid at the discretion of the town's administrators. Accordingly, the presentation of the treasurer's report does not raise the prospect of a member having a conflict or divided loyalties on the expenditure of town resources to, for example, his or her employer. For this reason, I will not be conducting an inquiry into your complaint. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. On or about March 7th, 2023, I received a complaint against all members of council who served during the 2018 to 2022 term of council, as well as the town's CAO. The allegation was that council provided aggregate from the town's landfill site to a local company free of charge, and in doing so contravened the oath of office, the accountability and transparency policy, the code of conduct, and the procedural bylaw. I wrote to the complainant on May 1st, 2023, dismissing the complaint. And so I've just taken a couple of excerpts from that letter. I'm writing to you today to advise that following my review and consideration of your complaint and all the accompanying information, for the reasons that follow, I have decided not to undertake an inquiry into these matters. As the town's integrity commissioner, I am responsible for the application of the town's code of conduct, along with other bylaws, policies, or rules governing the ethical conduct of members of council. The decision to give gravel to company does not involve a matter that is within my jurisdiction. In other words, there is no suggestion that a member or members of council had a pecuniary interest in the gravel, had a personal or private interest in the gravel, received gifts from the company in exchange for the gravel, released confidential information to the company, or engaged in inappropriate conduct, threatening, bullying, harassing behavior towards members of the public, staff, or other members of council. And then finally, I just report that I'm currently undertaking an inquiry into a complaint I received on April 26, 2023, and that's an ongoing matter for me. Thank you, Your Worship. That's all I had in my annual report.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
I have the report. It was posted on the website and the two complaints. This was, as I mentioned there, the year in review report that was in the newspaper. The concern was, it was very close to the election, and that it was the use of town property for election purposes. And I have to say, I thought long and hard about this. The timing was, not good because it was quite close to the election. But and in the report, I go through the reasons why I understood the timing the way it happened, and that there was nothing untoward there. The piece in the paper doesn't mention the election. There's no overt, suggestion that people should vote for the people there. So at the end of the day, it was my decision, that my finding, and I hope I've done a better job of explaining it in my report than I am now, but it didn't constitute a contravention of the bylaw. So I dismissed that complaint as well.
Well, thank you.
So subject to any questions, Your Worship, that's
Any
all I have to
questions
report.
for Harold? No? None? Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you, Your Worship, if I might
Yeah,
excuse myself.
For sure.
Okay,
Thank you very
well,
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
folks.
you. Take care.
Have a good evening. Bye.
If I can, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Following the next business item, I do have a motion to capture both items 7 and 8.
Okay,
Okay,
can I get a mover and a seconder, or do that after?
we can do that after,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
So turn it over to Councilor LaFave.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to advise the public and council that at the December 19th council meeting, when Mayor Delorier declared January 2023 to be Alzheimer's Month in the town of Iroquois Falls, As I sometimes do, I made an inappropriate remark, which was simply, I was going to ask a question, but I forgot. My comment was in no way meant to demean anyone with Alzheimer's or any other form of dementia, as I know that these are terrible afflictions. So if I offended anyone with my comments, I wish to sincerely apologize to you here and in this evening, and to all of my fellow council members and staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I'll get a mover and a seconder to accept. Councillor Jiguer and Councillor Bruni will second.
Can I read the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
It was moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Bernier that council receive as information the following reports as information from the Office of the Integrity Commissioner, Harold Elston. Annual report of the Integrity Commissioner dated May 29th, 2023, and report on the matter of 2 complaints against Mayor Delorier, Councillor Charlebois, Councillor Lefebvre, and Councillor Tremblay. And that Councillor Lefebvre provide a verbal report regarding a December 19th, 2022 comment regarding a proclamation of Alzheimer's disease.
All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to correspondence. And a mover and a seconder. Councillor Brombat and Councillor Jiguer will second.
Can I read the motion?
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Brombat and seconded by Councillor Jiguer that the following correspondence is received as information. Patricia Campbell, sidewalks on Victoria Road in the winter. Cochrane District Local Citizens Committee meeting minutes of March 9th, 2023. Cochrane District Social Services Administration Board meeting minutes of March 16th, 2023. The Iroquois Falls Chamber of Commerce meeting minutes of April 17th, 2023.
All in favor? Carried. So at our past, you guys used to read the correspondence. Are we still doing it that way or?
Oh, is that what council would like?
Yeah,
No problem. Sorry, I wasn't aware.
just for that one. The other ones were just minutes. We don't read those, but for the first one, we would, because there could be an action item over that.
So you'd like me to read out loud the correspondence received from
Mrs. Campbell,
Mrs. Campbell? I can do that, Mr. Mayor.
thank you.
So to Town Council and Mayor. I am living at 761 Victoria Road. I just recently moved here just before winter. Since I have moved, I have noticed that the sidewalks from Centennial Street to Cambridge do not have sidewalks cleared from snow. I was advised that years ago, Town Council decided for whatever reason, the safer place to keep open for walking would be Pearl Street. I was also told it is not any extra distance to go that route. I have arthritis and some days are worse than others. I do not wish to do extra distance on those days, so I walk on Victoria. That is when I was told by our elected council, and I quote, "Those walking on Victoria Road are taking their lives into their own hand. If you do a traffic count, you will notice there is very little traffic on Pearl, meaning a person can easily walk on the road without or very little worry of any kind of traffic whatsoever. Now, that being said, I see people every single, kids as well as adults, day walking on Victoria Road. I have spoken with some of the walkers and they all agree unanimously that Victoria Road sidewalk should be cleared as it is the road most taken by pedestrians. I was also informed that Victoria Road sidewalks used to be kept clean years ago until council changed their rules. If you did a traffic count, you would be horrified to know that they are walking on the road because sidewalks are not cleared. That includes children who are walking from school. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink, meaning you can say you wish the kids to take Pearl Street. That does not mean they are. Several weeks back, I witnessed a car slam on their brakes as there was kids walking from school. The person driving then started to shout at the kids, "Sorry, but that is just not right." So that is just not right whatsoever. In most towns where there is busy traffic, they either build an upper crossing or they make sure the walks are cleared, realizing it costs the town money to clear the sidewalks. I would think the road most dangerous should be the one that has a cleared path. Question, will it take that first death to have town council change their minds on their previous ruling? I sure hope not. I took a walk towards the proposed route that I was told was the designated road for the kids to walk on and was horrified to see no sidewalks were cleared at all. The school kids had to dodge buses and cars by walking on the road to even get to Pearl Street. Time to make changes is now, not after it's too late. Signed, Patricia Campbell.
No, council wants to take any action on that. That's what we usually do, is usually if somebody wants to make a motion.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Of the Public Works Department, if I may, or Mr. Seer, how long has Victoria Road not been used as a walkway in the winter time? Do you recall, or did it even happen before your time on as director?
For as long as, through you, Mr. Mayor, for as long as I can remember, it's been the case that we know now where
Pearl Street.
Pearl Street is, yes.
Because I remember when we had that discussion back in the day, and it seems to me that there was some rationale there that it was probably going to be safer for the way that traffic did travel on Victoria Road at the time. And that's why the decision was made to go around Pearl Street. Unless council decides otherwise, I would suggest as liaison to Public Works that we remain with the status quo unless.
I'll
unless
have to
Mr.
declare
Seer-
a pecuniary interest and just on this one because I live on Victoria Road.
Actually, I guess you all do.
Yeah. I was looking at
Sorry,
the
guys.
paperwork.
I'm moving. You're up.
We're okay with it?
You're up. Yeah.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there any other? Oh, yes,
Wait a minute,
Counselor.
we declare?
Yes, go ahead.
Without a sheet? I just. Give me a second. No, I don't need to seal this, bring it down. We have to leave the room.
I don't have to read what first?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware we were moving on this today. So apologize for everybody.
Do you have any more additional comments, Councilor Lefebvre?
Yes, I didn't think that we were actually going to be making a decision here tonight, but certainly it's worthy of a discussion. So I don't know that anybody actually had to declare a conflict here, but having said that, they've already done it. So off we go. Anyway, that was just my opinion I wanted to express, and I don't see why we'd have to change that. I think it's actually a safer section for people to drive down, and I live on Pearl Street, and I can tell you there is traffic on Pearl Street. Yeah, and generally speaking, the sidewalks are quite clean. In most of the our walking sidewalks are in the town. I'm sure one of the points that was raised in the letter was that on a particular day, the sidewalk wasn't clean at a particular hour. That's a possibility. There's always a possibility if it's after a snowstorm or the machinery is broken down, what have you. I'm sure that it's kept pretty clean most of the time.
Thank you. Councilor Jiguer.
Thank you. As we get going here, I'm starting to notice more and more people are concerned about just speeds in general in our community, and it's time for us to slow down. We're getting more and more letters, if it's Victoria, if it's this road, if it's that road. Every road, we're receiving people telling us that people are like racing through their side of the community. So I think, you know, we all gotta kind of just take a reflection here and notice what we're doing, and wintertime especially, that braking can sometimes not happen on a dime. I would like to put a motion for us to revisit this in the fall. We have other items here this evening that we're going to be talking about this street in particularly. Let's see what those discussions bring, and then maybe talk about this in the fall again and see if there's been any impact on decisions that we've already taken maybe throughout the summer.
Making a motion to defer, Counselor?
To defer until the fall, September.
I think I could shed a little bit of light as for the sidewalk and why we don't clean that section, or why council has given us direction not to clean that section. Twofold, the section from Cambridge heading towards heading north. There's a lot of properties like houses and porches that are very, very close to the sidewalk. So it's actually extremely difficult to clean that sidewalk operationally, and it would definitely decrease efficiency and increase the cost of maintenance. And then while you go around the corner in that area as well, there's a big elevation change between the sidewalk and some of the front lawns. And again, just an increased difficulty in doing that operation. So the Pearl Street option has been very, very good for us, you know, for resolving those efficiency issues. And if council were to want to discuss that, then it's tied to the level of service bylaw. So it would just be simple to request a review of that bylaw, and further discussion can be had.
Thank you, Director Seer. Madam Clerk, do we require a seconder for the motion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I just need to know if there is a seconder, and I need a little bit more clarification as to what the motion should look like. Or what the wording of the motion should look like. So I've heard the word revisit, and then the Director Works in Operation, he just quoted a bylaw. I would like that bylaw reflected in the motion, should the motion be tabled and approved on. So I'm just looking for some wording in order for me to be able to draft this motion, Mr. Chair.
To defer the matter of the letter of Mrs. Campbell until September. And refer as well to bylaw. If Director Seer can maybe find that one quickly for us, or.
That is bylaw number 3429-17,
3429-17,
correct?
thank you.
You need a seconder?
So,
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair, I need a second.
all right, if you could read the motion, Madam Clerk.
If I can, Mr. Chair, I'll just get a seconder and I'll read the motion.
Okay, seconder. You were the mover, were you not?
No.
No, he was the mover. Councilor Jiguer was the mover, seconded Councilor Lefebvre.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll read the motion done on the fly. If council wants any of the wording adjusted, just let me know. It was moved by Councilor Jiguer and seconded by Councilor Lefebvre that council revisit the request from Mrs. Patricia Campbell in September of 2023 by bringing back bylaw number 3429-17.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Yes.
So.
Do I need a mover and a seconder for bylaw? Counselor Charlebois, Counselor Brambat, will second.
Can I read the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
Was moved by Counselor Charlebois and seconded by Counselor Brambat. That bylaw number 3725-23 being a bylaw to authorize the sale of certain land to Joelle and Marissa Bastien be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 29th day of May, 2023.
Is there any comments or questions? Counselor LaFave?
Just like to make note that this is half a lot that's being sold, just to make sure that people don't get the impression that we're selling at fire, what do they call it? Fire prices or this fire base, is it basement fire? Bargain basement prices. Yeah, so it's a half a lot that was divided up a number of years ago.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. So we'll move on to the next bylaw. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Counselor Charlebois and Counselor Brambat?
Can I read the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
Was moved by Counselor Charlebois and seconded by Counselor Brambat. That bylaw number 3726-23 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of intent between the corporation of the town of Iroquois Falls and Due North Housing Incorporated be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 29th day of May, 2023.
Counselor Charlebois, do you have any comments or questions?
None, your worship.
Counselor Brambat, do you have any comments or questions?
No, your worship.
Anyone else? Counselor LaFave?
Only that this is a good deal for the town of Iroquois Falls. If we can get these people to build that factory, we'll be all better off.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to the next one, number C. Can I have a mover and seconder?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, sorry.
Is Counselor Jiguer able to come back in?
No.
No, okay.
No, one more to go.
Sorry about
No,
that,
no, it's
Mr.
all
Mayor.
good. I appreciate that. Mover and a seconder, please. Counselor LaFave and Counselor Charlebois.
Can I read the motion?
Yes, please.
Was moved by Counselor LaFave and seconded by Counselor Charlebois. That bylaw number 3727-23 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the corporation of the town of Iroquois Falls and EXP Services Incorporated for the provision of consulting engineering services for determining site feasibility of industrial park, environmental assessment, and preliminary design be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 29th day of May, 2023.
Any comments or questions, Counselor LaFave?
Only that I believe, and I think council is desirous of passing this bylaw, as it's an investment in the community's future. Getting a new industrial park is really important to our economic viability as we move forward.
Thank you. Counselor Charlebois, any comments or questions?
I concur with Counselor LaFave, your worship.
Any other counselors that have any comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Counselor Jake Eric can come back. Move on to 10D. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Counselor Charlebois will move. Counselor Tremblay will second.
Moved by Counselor Charlebois and seconded by Counselor Tremblay. That bylaw number 3728-23 being a bylaw to establish tax ratios and an optional class for 2023 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 29th day of May, 2023.
Any comments or questions, Counselor Charlebois?
All good, your worship.
Counselor Tremblay, any comments or questions? Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Number 10E, I need a mover and a seconder, please. Counselor Jiguer. Counselor Bernier will second.
Moved by Counselor Jiguer and seconded by Counselor Bernier. That bylaw number 3729-23 being a bylaw to provide for the adoption of the budget, including estimates for the year 2023, and to levy the rates of taxation and to provide for penalties and interest and default payments thereof for 2023, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 29th day of May, 2023.
Any comments on Councilor Jiguer or questions? Councilor Bernier,
I'm okay on.
any other comments or questions from anyone? All in favor? Carried. Move on to 11A, general business, and I declare a conflict for A and B, so I'll be leaving the chambers. Councilor Shawblock, can you take my place, please?
You're up.
Item 11B. I have a mover to table that item, please. We'll give it to Councilor Jiguer, seconded Councilor Lefebvre. Those in favor? Oh. Carried.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, what did we just pass?
To table the item.
Are we talking about agenda item 11A?
Yes.
So I do have a motion for that.
Okay,
It
please
would-
proceed.
If I can read it out loud, please,
Please do.
Mr. Chair. Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Lefebvre. That council directs staff to proceed with the installation of a new stop sign at the intersection of Ames Avenue and Victoria Road, at the intersection of Spruce Street and Victoria Road, at the intersection of Union Street and Victoria Road, at the intersection of Victoria Road and Anson Drive, and at the intersection of Mills Avenue, New Circle Place, and Anson Drive. And that council directs staff to proceed with the purchase of 4 radar speed signs to be installed along both Anson Drive and Victoria Road.
Thank you, Councilor Jiguer.
Thank you. I'll start with my first question, I guess, and then I'll let my fellow councilman ask one. What does this do for our public works department? Is this going to give them any issues with any other day-to-day activities?
Through you, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
No, it will not, and it should not cause any operational changes whatsoever.
Councilor Lefebvre.
Well, my concern primarily is, number one, we haven't spoken about this in the past, on council. Number two, I see this as overkill. And it's going to be a little bit expensive, those, radar, signs, as we all see them coming out of Timmins or driving into South Porcupine are relatively expensive from what I understand. We're talking 4 of them or so. I think this needs further conversation, maybe at our next meeting, in my personal opinion, that's what I'm thinking, because this is the first I've heard of this tonight.
Councilor Tremblay.
I mean, I think in the same way it comes from the pave was, I know they're a little overkill for a stop, 4-way stops at every street. Maybe we can inform the public first to, what the speed limits near Falls are, at first, we haven't even done that really. And maybe tell them that if things persist or continue, we will be going to 4-way stops. With all the 4-way stops, I think I can do is just stop the people, go through the stop sign and then zoom to the next stop sign, stop there, zoom to the next one. Maybe a reminder of what the speed limits near Falls are, 40. Before we go to the 4-way stops on every street corner. I know people aren't gonna be too happy about that, but if that's what it has to come to, that's what it might have to come to, so. I think we might have discussion for that.
Thank you. Councilor Jiguer.
If I can, through you, Councillor Shalbo, I would like to ask Mr. Dubé, have we been fielding any complaints on this matter? Like, have there already been some discussions? I know I have received several. I'm just wondering, has it, have we had any?
We'll field that question to Director Dubé.
To answer your question, Councillor Giguère, the complaints came through you. Our office has not received complaints regarding the speeds. I've been personally asked what we were going to do about the speed, just personally. And we had more complaints about individual parking both vehicles on the same side of both sides of the street, which was causing a hamperage. We have that moved. And again, this was option 1 and option 2. It wasn't both of them together. So it was either add stop sign and or put speed detectors, not all of it. And as you all know, a stop sign does reduce the speed because by law you have to stop. And for the OPP to enforce, once you roll the stop sign, yes, they can enforce that. So, you know, those are all options that council can consider.
Quick question, Director Dubé, with regards to speed monitoring signs. What would be the ballpark cost of what such a sign?
I couldn't find one for a cost purpose, so I haven't had a chance to really look at what the whole cost would be. I know I've seen them online. I just researched, you know, what they would look like, but I'd have to do some more work if we're going to add the cost.
Councillor Lefebvre?
I just think it's something that should be looked at because there's no doubt that we've got a problem with the speed demons in town. And I wish that people would slow down. I know that the OPP, we were talking to them this afternoon, as a matter of fact, about this very issue, and they are keeping an eye on it. Maybe if a couple of these people get charged, pass the word around, maybe things will slow down a little bit, but it is dangerous. There's no doubt about it. Not to mention being it's pretty noisy at times.
Any last comments, Councillor Tremblay?
No, thanks.
So then should we move a motion to defer this for discussion at our next committee of council or committee of the whole meeting?
You're making it.
So move.
Moved by Councillor Lefebvre to defer to our next, the matter to our next meeting.
Council of the whole and I guess early June we'll be meeting, mid-June.
Seconder. Oh, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
If I can, Mr. Chair, when it comes to a motion to defer,
Yes.
as much as we need a date, we also need a reason. So the reason for the
For-
deferral would be for
For further examination
Okay.
and perhaps prices,
Okay.
would be a good one. Expansion on the report.
June the 12th is our next meeting.
If I can, Mr. Chair, sorry,
Please.
Councillor Lefebvre, that was to collect more information and also to retrieve costs on the,
The radar,
yes, okay.
well, even the stop signs, so all equipment
Okay.
required for the various options.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, who was the seconder?
I'll second,
Councillor Giguere.
So, Mr. Chair, I did draft the motion on the fly. If council is not satisfied with the wording, just direct me accordingly. It was moved by Councillor Lefebvre and seconded by Councillor Giguere that council defer agenda item 11A to the committee of the whole meeting scheduled for June 12th, 2023, in order to receive further information, including full cost to implement the decision.
Those in favor?
Yep.
Carried. Thank you. Next item 11B. Do you have a resolution already for that 11B item? Madam
Yes,
Clerk?
sorry, Mr. Chair, I just
Okay.
need a mover and a seconder, please.
Councillor Giguere, second Councillor Tremblay.
Can I read the motion, Mr. Chair?
Please do.
It was moved by Councillor Giguere and seconded by Councillor Tremblay that council directs staff to proceed with the installation of no parking signs on Victoria Road between 742 Victoria Road and 700 Victoria Road, as well as between 737 Victoria Road and 695 Victoria Road.
Councillor Giguere, do you wish to speak on the matter?
well, my comment on the matter, I'm no expert, but that is a tight corner. Those are tight corners and I think you know, as this could be counter reactive to us trying to slow down traffic. I think that's why we chaired our last item there. There are some blind spots there. So I think we for sure need to look at this.
Thank you, Councillor Tremblay.
Thank you. I just want to know what street did you just say then? Please.
Can I reread the motion, Mr. Chair?
Please do.
So the streets that were named, Councillor Tremblay, that council directs staff to proceed with the installation of no parking signs on Victoria Road between 742 Victoria Road and 700 Victoria Road, as well as between 737 Victoria Road and 695 Victoria Road.
Thank you.
Councillor Lefebvre.
Yeah, I look at, that corner is very tight, as Councillor Jiguer indicated, and, I've gone by there numerous times, obviously, and to see somebody parked on the boulevard, there's just no room for parking in that section, so I'm in favor to get this done as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Brumbaugh.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm in favor to get that done as well. It's very tight spot. I use that street every day. But just to look at the other side, we are looking at almost 10 to 12 residents who's not allowed to park on street, or whoever guest is not allowed to park on street during winters. And if we cancel on summers, maybe if they have any gatherings or something, we need to think of that as well. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here next month or so after passing this, and then we'll have complaints from 10, 12 houses.
So noted, Councillor. Thank you. Councillor Jiguer, did you want to add?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Councillor Tremblay,
No, thanks.
Councillor Lefebvre,
Not really.
any last comments, Councillor Brumbaugh?
Just a suggestion, we can eliminate timings. Instead of having straight no parking during summer, we could do 30 minutes parking. That allows time. Just a suggestion. It could be 1 hour, but
We'll put the current motion to the vote. If I could ask the Madam Clerk to read it one more time, please.
Not a problem, Mr. Chair. Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Tremblay. That council directs staff to proceed with the installation of no parking signs on Victoria Road between 742 Victoria Road and 700 Victoria Road, as well as between 737 Victoria Road and 695 Victoria Road.
Those in favor? Unanimous carried. Thank you.
We'll go into 11C. I get a mover and a seconder, Councillor Jiguer and Councillor Charlebois.
Can I read the motion, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, you may.
Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Charlebois. Whereas Section 3 of bylaw number 3501-18 requires that prior to disposal of land, council shall pass a resolution to declare the land surplus to the needs of the municipality. And whereas council deems it in the best interest of the municipality to dispose of certain lands. Now therefore be it resolved that the following town-owned land is declared surplus to the needs of the municipality. Lot 4, Driftwood Lane, Monteith, Ontario. Lot 81, PCL 14437, SEC, Queen Street, Porquis, Ontario.
Any comments or questions, Councillor Jiguer? Councillor Charlebois? Anyone else at the table? All in favor? Carried. 11D, I get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Jiguer. Councillor Lefebvre. A second.
Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Lefebvre, that council approves the planting of 20 trees and or shrubs and the installation of 15 tree cages, and that council directs staff to draft a tree replacement bylaw.
Councillor Jiguer, any comments?
Thank you, your worship. Yeah, just, are we going to have given notice about where these trees are going prior to? Or is somebody gonna reinsure that we're not gonna be obstructing, vehicles view coming out of certain lanes or whatnot, just to make sure that it's in a safe area? Cause I would hate to have a group go out and do work and then it, be a safety issue and us needing to ask them to relocate it a second time. Or is there already a plan in place on where these are going?
Councilor Lefebvre will have an answer.
There is a plan and I can assure the councillor that there will be no obstruction to any street corners or any vehicular traffic. Having said that, I'm afraid that there's a little bit of an error here. And if we could make that change to the report. That in recommendation number one, the council approves a planting of 20 trees or shrubs and the installation of 15 tree cages. It should be 20 tree cages to cover the trees on Synagogue. And similarly, in the background, it says install 15 tree cages. That could be and should be changed to 20. But other than that, it should stand, and I don't think that there'll be any issues with where we plant the trees and the work that the Garden Town Committee is doing. And this is just a report.
Would that be something that your committee will work with Public Works or bylaw to make sure that we follow the rules?
If we need a
Guidance?
backhoe to dig a couple of holes, we'd be happy to
Yeah.
get their assistance. Other than that.
Just that we
of course,
follow
we always
the
do.
rules. Yeah,
We
okay, I
always do.
appreciate that. Okay. Go ahead.
If I can, Mr. Mayor, because there's been a slight change in the number, I'd like to reread the motion for the record.
Okay, thank you.
If
Go
that's
ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Lefebvre, that council approves the planting of 20 trees and or shrubs and the installation of 20 tree cages. And that council directs staff to draft the tree replacement bylaw.
Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. We'll go to 11E. Can I get a mover and a seconder?
If I can, Mr. Mayor, interrupt. So there's no motion drafted for this. So we're gonna have to have a discussion in order to know what the motion is going to be.
Okay. Can I bring this to our Recreation Director, Brian Finner?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for the question, your worship. Ultimately, as you guys are aware, referencing, I believe, the May 8th Committee of the Whole meeting, there is this summer, the Iroquois Falls 100th anniversary celebration is taking place. And they have requested to council the use of the arena at a potential reduced rate. So we're just at this point, this report is twofold. One is looking for direction from council within the options with the report on where we want to go and how we want to potentially support the committee. And then the second fold is about the use of the arena parking lot specifically for trailers and RVs on July 1st.
So the first one would be the rental of the arena. I know there's different ways of doing it. We give them a reduced rate, but we usually don't want to do that to committees because it becomes a precedence. But the next thing is we do have $1,000 left in our budget. And we can give money out of that too, but it's whatever council wishes to do. Councilor Bernier.
Thank you, Director Finner. Can you just shed some light on if this is something that's been done in the past in terms of giving this discount and to maybe which group and why it was done?
Yeah, so we typically, as a department, try to follow our user fee bylaw as much as possible. Any reduced rate would go to council. So if it's a special event, a one-off, a non-for-profit, perhaps, a community event, those are all things historically that council will consider in either a reduced rate or a donation.
So other, like, some like the Iroquois Falls Events Committee, we were charged to go there and we're a committee of council. But like I say, it's up to council what they want to do. Councilor Lefebvre.
Well, only that the committee is looking for 6 days of usage of the facility. I would be more inclined to just waive 4 or 5 days of the 6 days required. This is set up and tearing down. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director Finner, but the chances are the arena is not going to be used for any other reason at that period of time. So if I could maybe suggest that we charge them the fee for 1 day of rental and not gobble into our whatever's not to take out any of the money out of the meager budget that we have for donations that's left over. That's what I would suggest.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Thank you so much for the question, your worship, and Council Fave. Just wanted to comment on Councillor's perspective that currently the arena is not booked during the requested 6 days. Again, this came in, this request came in, I would say, I believe, late April, when the committee started having these conversations around logistics. Their request for the amount of usage may have changed. It might be compacted at this point based on the amount of people going to the event. Something to think about there. I'm not sure if they need the arena for all 6 days. I think they were just trying to support what they knew at the time. But in terms of your specific question, Councillor Fave, it is currently not being used within that time frame. I certainly don't want to assume. I'm not sure when the event nears that they'll need that much time. So if that lights any perspective in any capacity as well.
Councillor Tremblay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Richard Dinner, what should it be for the 6 days?
I believe it's just, thank you very much for the question, Councillor Tremblay. I believe it is just over 5,000. 8 times
840.
yeah, so $5,040, Councillor Tremblay, for all 6 days.
Thanks, Rick.
Myself, I know they have to set up and stuff like that, and I get it, and I hate to charge them the full price. But I kind of like Councillor LaFave's idea, but I'd go with the 2-day rental because it does cost us electricity, the wear and tear, cleanup, there's all that other expense. So if they need 6 days, I'd be recommending 2 days charge rental fee. Councillor Bernier?
I'm just trying to envision this so we're not arbitrarily picking numbers on 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. Do we know, Director Finner, how many of these days they're requesting or during their rental period that they'll be putting on the event rather than the takedown or the put up and the tear down? Have you been indicated on that or no?
There's ongoing dialogue and logistics with the committee. The event is only 1 day. I'm not sure at this time how long they're expecting for setup. I've had different feedback where the chair of the committee, I believe is the principal or part of the committee, is hoping we can support in any way we can. Again, I think they were just planning to prepare themselves as much as possible at the time and requesting that time span. But my perspective right now is they're not going to need that many days for setup.
Councillor Brownback?
Thank you, Your Worship. Director Finner, may I ask you to check back with them how many days do they need, get proper timeline, and then may I suggest we can offer them 50% discount. So 50% goes toward donation. So if they take 3 days, we just charge them accordingly. So that way everything, all costs are covered and they also get something in return.
Okay, Councillor Jiguer?
Thank you, Your Worship. One, just a comment. These are kind of events that, don't happen without the support of volunteers, and volunteers are hard to come by, and our small community here is being successful because of our volunteer base. And I'm taking presumption that this 5 or 6 days is because of the volunteer base and how much they are actually trying to put on that weekend. It's my understanding that the arena is usually open Monday to Friday during normal business days anyways. Therefore, would not have any additional staff if we gave maybe them, you can come in from this time to this time when we're already staffed. It wouldn't cost us additionally anything to have another worker there, and then charge them for the day of use. This is a rare opportunity. I was born and raised in Val Gagne, and I was there when we did our 100th for the community, and it was huge, and it was great to be part of. And I'm looking forward for this event, and I commend them for doing what they're doing. And without folks like this, it would not be possible. So I'd like to put a motion on the table that 1, they do their setup and tear down during normal hours of activity, and 2, that we charge them for the day of use.
I'll second that.
So it's moved by Councilor Jiguer, council by Councilor Fire.
If I can, Mr. Mayor, I just need a few minutes to draft the
Yeah.
motion. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Again, Mr. Mayor and members of council, if you don't like my wording, please let me know so I can adjust the motion accordingly. Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor LaFive, that council provide an in-kind donation to the IFSS 100th Anniversary Committee to set up and take down for the event during township regular hours, and that council impose a one-day fee by following the user fee bylaw.
And I'd like to have a recorded vote.
Councillor Bernier, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Could we have a discussion on this or have we done? The motion, it's been moved and seconded. Is there no discussion?
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
We had this discussion at our last, I think it was the committee of the whole meeting where we deferred this decision to tonight. And at the time, we were talking about how little time that there was left for these volunteers to actually get organized. Now we're talking a month. So with all due respect, Councilor Brambat, taking more time now to make a decision is just going to delay it even further. And these people have to make their, get their plans and make them concrete. So we have to move this thing along. So I just wanted to add those comments before we did take the vote.
Any other, Councilor Bernier?
No, it's been in the discussion at this meeting and the prior meeting that we were possibly setting a precedent. I agree in some sort of sense that we are doing that, but as well, you alluded to the events committee, your worship using this and paying the full rate. There was also a fair bit of financial implications to that in terms of the return. And also just noted that this is 100th anniversary, and those don't come by obviously very often. And like Councillor Jiguer mentioned, alluding to the one in Valganya, the one in York Falls previous, the 100th anniversary here was something that was big. This group has put in the efforts, the time. They seem like a big group, but it's a very small group doing this for the amount of activities they're putting on. Everything from the airplanes activities coming in, I believe in a few weeks, all the way into this. It coincides to our Canada Day festivities on the same weekend, which is draw a lot more people to town during our activities or the activities that our recreation center will be putting on as well. And obviously there may be some money being made in this, but it's going to be a marginal compared to other groups may have had. And again, allude to the fact it's 100th anniversary, something very special, and it's an activity being brought that everybody's been chomping at the bit to see happen in York Falls. There's more activities, more things to attract tourists and bring people back home. And this is an event that's doing that all together. So I'm obviously very for this.
Any other comments? Councilor Shalvo?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so the Just Jordan Arena was built by volunteers, as we know, and volunteers are organizing this 100th anniversary. It's not for profit activity. So I really like the fact that we're considering this right now. I'd hate to see us saying, nope, it's gonna cost you 6 days worth of rental, and then finding out that they can't put it on, they'll be serving box lunches in Anson Park. It just wouldn't be right. It'll be, another 100 years before another council has to contemplate this kind of scenario. We won't be around for that at the time. And I really like the stipulation made by Councilor Jiguer that the tear down and the setup be done during regular business hours, so it's not going to unduly add to cost overruns for the complex as well. So a great idea, and I will support that for 1 day's rental.
Any other comments? Councilor Trombley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Can you just use the mic, please?
Director Finner gave us 4 options. We're basically taking number 2, so everything's fine.
Any other
Need some
comments?
More discussion.
So we'll do a recorded vote.
Councillor Bernier, for the record, how do you vote?
4.
Councillor Brambat, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Charlebois, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yep.
Councillor Jiguer, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Lefebvre, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Tremblay, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Mayor Delorier, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Mayor Delorier, the yeas have it.
Thank you. I need a mover and a seconder for F.
Hang on a second, Mr. Mayor, there is another issue.
Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So thank you, your worship. So just to speak on the request for the use of the arena parking lot, I believe when the request came in, it was requesting the use of the arena parking lot or another designated parking lot in the community to host either campers, trailers or RVs to support and accommodate the participants partaking in the celebration. This is something that the recreation department with the use of the parking lot would certainly support and want to work out logistics with the committee. Pending the committee is willing to take on the liability, we have no problem with this, whether it be through additional insurance certificate or a hold harmless. This is something we absolutely want to work with the committee to support, and we can pick a designated area in the parking lot and work out logistics with the committee on an ongoing basis.
Any comments or questions?
The only other thing, and I don't know if it's already been raised with them, Director Finner, but there is quite a good sized camping area out in Parkus Junction, and there's also the facilities inside there if need be. So it's something that they may want to look at if there's anybody watching, or if you could report back to that committee.
Councilor Charlebois sits on that
Or
committee.
Council Charlotte could do that.
And Council Lefebvre, absolutely. I think it's an ongoing discussion in terms of what might best be suited for the committee in terms of logistics. I think this is just something we wanted to get the clarification on in terms of the support to make sure that council was okay with us providing the arena parking lot pending the hold harmless was in place, so that I can give the committee an answer so they can plan accordingly.
Would Porquist charge them for that space?
I don't think they would, no.
Okay.
Quite
go-
frankly, I don't. I'm speaking for them, but
Yeah.
I shouldn't be, but I don't think they would.
Okay, Councilor Lefebvre had something to say?
Well, unless Councillor Charlotte was going to, no, the only thing I was thinking is, do we need a motion to move with that and just
I think
allow
so.
Director Finner to continue to explore this agreement with the organizing committee?
Absolutely.
Can I get a mover?
So move.
Councilor Charlebois and Councilor Lefebvre? Is there any
Proceed with
comments
the
or
draft
questions?
Agreement, that we proceed with the draft agreement, pending their consent.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm just looking for some clarity in regards to the wording of the motion.
Can you say your recommendation that you're gonna do for us?
Thank you, your worship. So for the recreation department to pursue logistical requirements to host trailers and RVs in the arena parking lot for the 100th anniversary celebration.
I would like to add the.
The insurance?
Well, but if you're gonna be specific about hosting it at all, it should also include Porpoise, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But it would be Porpoise Recreation would take care of that.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying,
So we don't have to okay
it's,
that.
it's our parking lot.
What is?
The facility out in Porpoise Junction belongs to the town of Iroquois Falls.
May I suggest that council simply gives direction to Director Finner to coordinate a location suitable for the campers.
Good enough.
Yeah,
And Director Finner would just.
yeah, I appreciate that.
I support that.
That would work.
Thank you. Oh, Councillor Jiguer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one thing maybe for the committee to keep in mind if they do end up using the arena parking lot. Like I know we have a restaurant in that near establishment as well, and they have to close their outside dining by 11 PM, noise for the manor. So if they are going to be picking that parking lot, you're next to the manor. So just remember our noise bylaw that takes effect 11 PM. Not that I want to be the party pooper and people coming in and out. Going to be a lot of people that haven't seen each other in a long time. The short bus ride to Porquist may be a better fit. I don't know, but just please keep that in mind as you're making your decision on where to go.
Any other comments?
That's a really good point. The noise bylaw would have to be enforced.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Councilor Jiguer, thank you very, very much for the perspective. Just note, council, that will be reflected within the hold harmless agreement, of course.
Thank you.
I think we're making Madam Clerk work for it tonight, aren't we?
That's enough, Councillor. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, so this one's a rough motion, okay? This one's rough. So I appreciate the feedback. I need a mover and a seconder to actually read the motion, Mr.
Well,
Mayor.
Councillor Lefebvre and Councillor Jiguer.
Moved by Councillor Lefebvre and seconded by Councillor Jiguer, that council direct the Director of Recreation to continue working with the committee to determine a proper parking area in keeping with municipal bylaws and to recoup the insurance certificate.
Any comments or questions? Go ahead.
To recoup. Is that what you-
If I can, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, it really should say to collect, and it should also, I should add wording to indemnify the municipality as well.
Okay. To ensure that there's insurance and
Certificate or?
liability insurance and what did you say? Save harmless,
Indemnify.
hold harmless?
Good.
Yes.
Any more comments? Okay, so can I get a recorded vote, please?
Councillor Bernier, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Brambat, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Charlebois, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Jiguer, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Lefebvre, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Councillor Tremblay, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Mayor Delorier, how do you vote? Yay or nay?
Yay, and I appreciate the support for their 100th anniversary around the table. Councillor Charlebois?
What a privilege, your worship. We have a 5-minute recess and maybe run that AC for during that time.
For you, for sure. We'll take a
Thank
5-minute
you.
recess. So 11F, can I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Charlebois? Councillor Jiguer?
Moved by Councillor Charlebois and seconded by Councillor Jiguer, whereas Ontario Regulation 284-09 under the Municipal Act 2001 allows municipalities to exclude from their annual budget amortization, post-employment expenses, and solid waste landfill closure and post-closure expenses. And whereas amortization expenses attribute the capital cost over the life of the asset, and therefore it can be one potential tool to predict the annual financial commitment required for future asset rehabilitation. And whereas the regulation requires that the municipality prepares a report on the impact of these excluded costs. And whereas the town of Iroquois Falls 2023 budget and associated tax levy excludes the following: amortization expenses estimated at $1,674,551. Solid waste landfill closure and post-closure expenses estimated at $1,254,527. and post-employment benefit costs estimated at $3,200. Now therefore be it resolved that council hereby adopts the compliance report for expenses excluded from the 2023 budget as outlined above.
Any comments or questions, Councillor Shalabah?
This is pretty well straight budget time resolution.
Councillor Jiguer, anything? Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. We'll go on to G, mover and a seconder. Councillor Jiguer. Councillor Shalabah.
Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Charlebois that council directs staff to draft a letter of support for the fundraising efforts for the South Centennial Manor redevelopment project.
Any comments or questions? Councillor Shalabah.
Your worship, I know we're just contemplating a letter of support, but are we indirectly committing ourselves to anything else? In so
No.
doing?
No, it's, we have a committee formed to raise some money for that and to go to government and asking for, some help. So we need this letter of support. I believe, I think we asked Black River Madison and Cochrane for letters of support also.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Councilor Fire?
Is this only the fundraising efforts, or will we could pass something which was more similar to actually developing a not-for-profit organization, or did we already do that?
I think we already did that.
We
one.
did it.
That
at
was for the
last
worker
meeting,
bees.
correct?
Yes,
Right?
this is
Okay.
for the manor.
Yeah, oh, that's right, too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you. Yeah,
okay, any other comments or questions?
as far as the manor is concerned, we did commit the $50,000 in our budget.
Yeah, put aside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In case it does get built.
That's right.
Yeah.
It will get built.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. Moving to number H. Mover and a seconder. Councilor Brombat. Councilor Bernier.
What do we?
What?
No, it's been moved and seconded.
Yeah,
So this is a resolution for the city of for municipality of Wawa.
Hmm.
So what's the resolution? That we support this letter, or that we were drafting a similar letter? Like there's nothing here. Correct me, unless, does it give direction to draft a
go
letter?
ahead.
If I can,
Yes,
Mr.
go
Mayor.
ahead.
So this resolution, although lengthy, it does state that you're just supporting, it's the municipality of Wawa that submitted it,
Right.
but you're supporting the intention of it. And you're also submitting the letter of support to the Premier, Minister of Education,
Okay.
MPP and AMO.
And I think it's a good thing. And I know it's a good thing, so I'll support it myself, but any other comments or questions? Can I get a mover and a seconder?
Mr. Mayor, we already have it.
There we are, sorry.
Yes.
All in favor? Carried. Motions which prior notice has been given is nil. Mayor's report. Well, it was a busy month, of course, again, and with all the help of my counselors and staff and the residents and the investors, lots of moving parts in our community. I attended the CDSAB meeting, and it was well brought up that we're trying to move on different subjects, especially on homeless and mental health. That's some of the big concerns right now at the CDSAB board, and housing, of course. Another thing, I attended my budget meetings. My Phenom meeting, I went to with Brian Finner, the Phenom and Perry Sound, and that was a well-attended event, and we learned a lot, and we made some good connections at that Phenom conference. I also attended my Northern Ontario Wires meetings. Also attended a manor and new development for the funding of the new manor. I attended one of those meetings. I attended a workers' bee meeting that we had in discussion of worker bees. Also, I attended council training that Cassandra Childs and Chris Ray gave to us. And we just had Harold that just gave us integrity commissioner training. I also met with OPP staff sergeant with myself, the CEO, and Mark Dubé, and the mayor of Black River Madison, and Chris Ray, the CEO from Black River Madison. Also, we went to Monteith and we had a meeting with the staff sergeant, and that was some good discussions too. I also attended my Porcupine Health meetings. Also, we declared a state of emergency on Friday, May 26th at 2:05 for the Nelly Lake problems we're having there, flooding in the area. We have septic beds that are compromised and starting to go into the lake, and this safety concerns and health concerns for our residents and the unorganized township also. So we had a meeting today with our team, and then we're having another meeting at 2:00 tomorrow with our other team. We have 40 partners on that with resources from the government and nonprofit groups and people that are good at dealing with emergencies. So we look forward to that too, and hopefully get that resolved in a timely fashion. I'd like to turn over to my Mark Dubé, our CMC for emergency management.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to add a little bit more, you basically said my speech, but that being said, we're all monitoring the water levels at Highway Beach daily. We have some boots on the ground already from an organization that is going around the lake and trying to collect some information from us. That being said, we will be updating the public tomorrow, hopefully through the media on where this is all going. So we ask everybody to respect the health unit, which has put a boil water advisory for drinking water at Nelly Lake. There are test kits that can be collected to test your drinking water, not the lake water, but your drinking water, to make sure that it's safe. We're making arrangements with the health unit here in Oak Falls to accept the samples so that they can be shipped to Timmins to save people from driving up to Timmins. And we'll have a little bit more tomorrow.
And there's no boating allowed on Nelly Lake. So please respect that order. Very much appreciated. Okay, and that's it for me. Notion of motion is nil. Councillor updates. We'll start Councillor Trombley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all my training meetings, my committee meetings, my regular meeting, and my special meeting.
Okay, Councillor Lefebvre.
As you indicated, Mayor Delorier, this has been one crazy month. I looked at the calendar and marked down. I've been on council business 16 days out of the month of May. And it looks like things are going to continue to be busy for the next little while. So all I can say is I think council is doing a great job working together, and we're getting a lot of things accomplished for this community. And I too would like to emphasize the fact that, any boaters plan on going on to Nelly Lake, please consider what your neighbors are suffering through right now at the north end of the lake. And what's happening out there is affecting, as you said, every other property owner out there. So I think it's really important that people understand what the ramifications are here.
And it is the rule, you're not allowed, it's the law now, people will be out there.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, you'll most likely be charged. Okay, Councillor Jiguer.
Thank you, Your Worship. As my fellow council members here, I've went to all my regular meetings and special meetings. I've had an LCC meeting. I also had the pleasure of going around Nelly Lake with yourself one evening, talking to residents, and I just want them to know that, they got our attention. We're doing what we can. Yourself and the staff are doing a great job, and let us know how we can support you guys moving forward.
Thank you. Councillor Charlebois.
Thank you, Your Worship. Attended the two training meetings that we had, as well as a total of 4 regularly scheduled and budget meetings. Garden Town of the North Committee meeting, emergency management meetings, 2 of those. I counted at least 7 and probably more because I sometimes forget to write them down, various meetings on other matters. Nowhere near as busy as yourself, Your Worship, but I'm trying. Try to keep up. Related to Junior A, I know we don't have a committee for that, but nonetheless, a couple of those, and a reminder that to the community that there's one last open house for season tickets for the Junior A team, the Iroquois Falls Storm. It'll be tomorrow night between 6:30 and 8:30 at the Just Jordan Arena. And last but not least, I've got earn this little certificate of achievement from the Walkerton Clean Water Center, responsibilities under the statutory standard of care for safe drinking water act course. This was recommended to us by at two training sessions, well, more than two, but we'll say two training sessions that we had. One was last November and one more recently. It was recommended by all of our instructors. And I thank Director Sear for assisting me to get onto this course. It's done. He may regret it now because I probably sent him through our CAO a list of about 20 some questions that are coming out of that, taking that course. But I would highly recommend that all councillors consider taking this course. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bromback?
Thank you, Worship. Like everybody else said, it's been a busy month. I attended all my committee meetings, regular meeting, training meetings, and budget meetings, and that's all.
Councillor Bernier?
Thank you, your worship. As mentioned by everybody else, short of last week, I was away. All other meetings and trainings were attended by myself. It's an exciting month for myself and I believe for Eric Falls. As one of the things I wanted to work on when I came to be elected to council was bringing back a junior A hockey team in Eric Falls. Just Jordan Arena and the town of Eric Falls is obviously a true hockey town, and it's a big project that I wanted to see happen over the course of this term. And with the help of Director Finner and some of my fellow councillors and yourself, your worship, we managed to pull that off in the first 6 months of being at this table. So it's extremely exciting. And as Councillor Charlebois said, you know, it's important for the community to get behind this and get out and get the season tickets. I think there's a fair amount of season tickets that have been sold, and the support has been shown as a great communication with the owners and the coaching staff that I seen at the Sportsman Show. It's obviously something else that we spent a lot of time on with the events committee, as is the Sportsman Show that was at the beginning of this month, which I thought was a huge success with the help of some former members of Knights of Columbus, who helped us out in that. But again, this is a very exciting time. Continuously seem to be repeating that through, everybody around the table has some project that they're working on that is kind of being seen as materializing. This was one really big one for myself. I'm extremely excited to see hockey in Eric Falls again, and thanks to all the people who supported that, and hopefully Eric Falls gets behind it as I know they will, and we can watch some good hockey again.
Yeah, thank you. Well, at this time, I'm gonna stand up. And the last time I'll be able to do this probably, but I'd like to ask my Director of Public Works, Mr. Sear, to come forward. Thank you for your years of service. I wish you all the best. Moving on to your new job in Timmins, and you're going to be missed, and hopefully one day you'll come back to our community. Thank you very much. So I need a mover to go into closed. Councillor Charlebois and Councillor Jiguer.
Was moved by Councillor Charlebois and seconded by Councillor Jiguer. That council goes into a closed session to discuss the following: labor relations or employee negotiations under the Municipal Act, Section 239, subsection 2, Clause D, regarding the Director of Public Works position at 8:08 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Someone on the move? Councillor Jiguer and Councillor Charlebois was second.
Moved by Councillor Jiguer, seconded by Councillor Charlebois. That council now comes out of the closed portion of the meeting at 8:22 p.m.
And can I get a mover and a seconder? There you go.
I already have them, Mr. Mayor.
So, okay, so I need a all in favor.
That's right. Mr.
All in favor, long night, sorry. Carried. So I need a mover and a seconder to close the meeting.
If I can, Mr. Mayor, so there's a motion from close that should be adopted and open, and then we can close the meeting.
Okay, so I get a mover and a seconder, Councillor Lefebvre and Councillor Jiguer.
Moved by Councillor LaFive and seconded by Councillor Jiguer that council regrettably accept the resignation letter dated May 19th, 2023 from Director of Public Works as information, and that council declare the Director of Public Works position vacant effective June 16th, 2023.
All in favor? Carried. So I need a mover and a seconder to close the meeting. Councillor Jiguer, Councillor Bernier,
Moved by Councillor Jiguer and seconded by Councillor Bernie that this regular meeting of council is hereby adjourned at 8:23 PM.
all in favor? Carried. Good night, everyone.